All right, we're going to move on to Standard 6, conflicts of interest. So Standard 6A talks about disclosure of conflicts. Members and candidates must make full and fair disclosure of all matters that could reasonably be expected to impair their independence and objectivity, or interfere with the respective duties to their clients, prospective clients, and employer. Members and candidates must ensure that such disclosures are prominent, are delivered in plain language, and communicate the relevant information effectively. So we're going to look at some of the terminology that's in green because those are some of the key words that we'd like to make sure that we have a good understanding of. So what we know is conflicts can arise frequently and can take a variety of forms. So we must identify when that's possible and then manage them. The best practice is to avoid conflicts, but in reality, that's not always possible. So we must mitigate them primarily through disclosure. If we think we have a conflict of interest or we know we have a conflict of interest, we have to disclose it. It has to be prominent and made in a manner to effectively communicate the information to the key stakeholders. Our clients, our prospective clients, our employers need to know when we have a potential conflict of interest. That way, they can make the right decision about that particular circumstance. Timing and nature of disclosures is at the discretion of the investment professional or firm, but you should err on the side of sharing more information more quickly and more prominently. Okay. So disclosure to employer may be appropriate. Conflict affects judgment and ability to execute duties in an unbiased manner. So that's really the key litmus test about conflicts. Does some relationship that you have with a person, place, or thing potentially impact your judgment and your ability to be unbiased in all manners? Disclosure allows employer to assess the impact and determine a resolution. They may, on one hand, say they're not concerned about it, or they may, on the other hand, say we want you to discontinue that relationship, or they may take you out of the particular relationship with the firm. So mere appearance of conflict may be detrimental. So even if it appears as though there's a conflict of interest, and if in fact there is none, you should be transparent, you should give full disclosure, and put that on the table so everybody's aware of the possibility. And an employer may restrict conduct. Okay, so they may restrict your conduct, who you can do business with, or who you can have an external relationship with, to avoid conflicts. So I mean, keep in mind that conflicts impact judgment and impact your ability to be unbiased in executing for your clients and or prospective clients. So conflict should disclose the following: financial interest in their recommendations, any fee arrangements, any business relationships, any personal relationships. Okay, that could impact your judgment. Investment banking, underwriting, or other non-financial relationships, and any market-making relationships. Personal investing can cause a conflict, right? So you may want your investments to go in a certain direction, so that may influence your decision making. So disclose materially beneficial ownership. That includes power to vote shares, power for direct disposition, to buy or sell. Directly addressed by the CFA Institute Standard 4B, priority of transactions. An investment professional service as a director can also cause a conflict. It can cause a conflict between duties owed to the clients and duties owed to the shareholders. So again, disclose, discuss. Payment of securities that could affect trading recommendations to clients, and potential for exposure and sharing of confidential or material non-public information. So if you take on the role as a director on either for-profit or non-profit, then that oftentimes has inherent conflicts built into your duties and obligations to your clients and to your employers. So it's important that you put those on the table. Your employer may ask you not to be on the board of directors of a particular organization because of the apparent conflict, whether it be real or not. So that's something that you'll have to consider in terms of your employment. So here's some case studies with regard to Standard 6A. So Papadopoulos is the chief investment officer of a retirement fund that uses an outside advisor for its real estate allocation. Thomas, a recognized sell-side research analyst and a business school classmate of Papadopoulos, recently started his own asset management firm specializing in real estate investment. The performance of the retirement fund's current external real estate advisors has been moderate to poor, but still in line with the fund's benchmark. Papadopoulos decides to switch real estate advisors and hires Thomas, not only to help his friend, but also to seek better returns. Papadopoulos' actions are appropriate if he discloses his relationship with Thomas to the retirement fund. If he doesn't, then he's got a conflict. Okay, I'm going to let you read through these next two cases, the one on Mirabelli and the one on Caroli. All right, so let's move on to the next. Let's look at compliance practice as it relates to Standard 6A. So identify conflicts or potential conflicts of interest, eliminate or mitigate all conflicts identified, identify any roles and responsibility for personnel charged with addressing conflicts, disclose policies for reporting and disclosing personal transactions, disclose compensation arrangements that may conflict with clients' interests. So to summarize Standard 6A, must disclose conflicts of interest in a prominent and effective manner, avoid conflicts or mitigate through disclosure. Disclosure must be prominent and effective, and I will add, and timely. The nature, timing, and form of disclosure is at the discretion of the person, entity making the disclosure, but more timely, more quickly, more prominently, the better. Must disclose to employer conflicts that affect professionalism. Conflicts can include financial, business, and personal relationships. Okay, let's look at Standard 6B, priority of transactions. Investment transactions for clients and employers must have priority over your own personal investments or the investments in which you're a beneficial owner. So the standard is designed to prevent conflict of interest between the client and personal investments. Client interests have a priority. Personal transactions should not adversely affect the interest of clients. Give clients priority of accounts where there's a beneficial ownership. Personal accounts include your own, those of your family, and those in which there's a direct or indirect interest. Treat fee-paying family accounts as any other client account, not to be advantaged or disadvantaged. Co-investing with clients may not create a conflict. Disclose circumstances where conflicts occur between personal interest and recommendations or actions for clients. Personal investment actions may not be disadvantaged to clients. Cannot use client transactions to benefit yourself. Okay, so if you have a big gain in a client account, you can't share in that. And comply with firm policies and applicable laws regarding personal investments. So here's a couple of cases with regard to Standard 6B. So the first one is Wellhouse, an investment advisor who trades options for both his clients and personal accounts. He purchases the options in a master account and allocates the purchases to a particular account at the end of the day, depending on the financial circumstances. Wellhouse sometimes allocates those trades that appreciate in value during the course of the day to his personal account, while allocating trades that depreciate to his advisory clients. So this is clearly unacceptable because the trade allocation system benefits his personal interest over his clients. Okay, so there's a couple of other cases here, Craig and Yang, which I'd like you to read through. So compliance practice, limit participation in initial public offerings, restrict participation in private placements, establish blackout restricted periods, establish reporting requirements including the following: disclosure of personal holdings, duplicate trade confirmations, pre-clearance procedures. So to summarize, investment transactions for clients have priority over personal transactions. Personal accounts are your own, your family accounts, accounts in which you have a beneficial interest. You're required to disclose conflicts between personal investing recommendations and actions for clients. Personal investment actions could not disadvantage or adversely affect clients' interest. You cannot use client transactions to benefit your own interest. Okay, so the last section of Section 6 is the referral fees. Members and candidates must disclose to their employers, clients, and prospective clients as appropriate any compensation, consideration, or benefits received from or paid to others for the recommendation of products or services. Disclose to clients, prospective clients, employer referral fees paid both to you and paid by you. Disclosure allows evaluation of independence and objectivity and full cost of the services. Disclosure must come before services are rendered or compensation is paid by the client. Disclosure includes the nature and amount of the benefit. Firm may prohibit referral fees or develop procedures for regular reporting and approval. Raphael, an investment advisor for Enright Financial Services, enters into an agreement with a friend who is a lawyer regarding referral of clients. Raphael will refer EFS clients needing legal services to lawyer in return for the lawyer recommending clients needing financial advice. This arrangement is acceptable as long as EFS and Raphael's clients are aware of this arrangement with the attorney. Okay, another Buto and state employee. So summarize, disclose to clients, prospective clients, employers, referral fees, both paid to you and paid by you. Disclosure may come before services are rendered or compensation is paid by a client. Okay, so you have to do this before you render services, and disclosure must include the nature and the amount of the benefit. All right, so that's going to do it for Standard 6. Please make sure you've done your discussion board discussions, and then we'll then cover our last standard in week 6, which is standard number 7.